The WWE kept fans in the dark about most of the matches being held at Hell in a Cell, but now that the show is over, how did it do? Well, judging by our thumbnail, not so good at the end. Join us now as Wrestlelamia recaps this year's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and looks at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Hell in a Cell is coming to you from the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California, and every pay-per-view starts off with the kickoff show, and incredibly, the WWE doesn't have a Cruiserweight Championship tonight. Instead, we have an interview from Women's Tag Team Champions Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, who joined the pre-show panel. The champions say their challengers tonight are the Kabuki Warriors, who in their minds don't deserve a title match. But the kickoff show has one match, and it's Natalya vs Lacey Evans. The ongoing program between Natalya and the sassy Southern Belle graduates from Raw to the Hell in a Cell pre-show. Lacey goes to power her way to the top, but a missed moonsault opens the door for Natalya to lock in the sharpshooter for the submission win. Natalya wins this one, but later on in the night we see that a rematch has been booked for Raw tomorrow night. And this time, it's a last women's standing match. Will Lacey Evans manage to get payback tomorrow night? Now it's time to get into the main show, as Hell in a Cell opens up with the Raw Women's Championship match, as champion Becky Lynch takes on Sasha Banks. Both women are looking to end each other's careers, and they come close at times, using various implements including kendo sticks, tables, and a mountain of steel chairs. One cool spot saw Becky Lynch slide in a number of kendo sticks in the corner of the cage and mounting a chair on it, leading to her leaping off the apron and drop kicking her from the outside. It was a cool looking spot and something that no doubt gave Tommy Dreamer a big hard on. But during the closing stages of the match, Sasha looks to have things headed her way, but Becky throws a chair at her, followed by a backsploder onto the chairs laid out on the floor. Time to yank Banks' arm out of her socket as Becky Lynch locks in the disarmer, and despite Banks' efforts, she taps out. Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's Championship, which was surprising since we thought that there was no way that she was going to leave Hell in a Cell with her belt. But after that, it's the Tornado Tag match as the Bludgeon Brothers take on Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Luke Harper and Rowan have the power advantage and teamwork advantage, having held the Smackdown Tag Team titles. However, it's mano-a-mano for all intents and purposes, that is until the Bludgeon Brothers get temporary advantage and look to double team Rowan and Bryan into oblivion. Harper goes with 2 dragon suplexes, but a third fails, and Roman Reigns hits a Superman punch, followed by the running knee from Bryan, and a cover on Harper does the job. Daniel wants a hug and eventually gets one from the Big Dog, cementing Daniel Bryan's full face turn. Next up was a match that was announced earlier in the evening, as Randy Orton took on Ali. Ali took Randy Orton to the limit, but as always happens, an RKO out of nowhere changes everything and Orton gets the Duke. The announcers remind the fans that Tyson Fury will appear on Raw to comment on his confrontation with Braun Strowman. Well, it wasn't really much of a confrontation since WWE security kept the heavyweight boxing champion at bay, but nevertheless we'll hear what he has to say tomorrow night. Next up is the Women's Tag Team Championship match as champions Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross take on the Kabuki Warriors. Aggressive tactics by the Kabuki Warriors can't get the job done, but Asuka seals the deal when she sprays green mist in Cross's eyes, blinding her and covering her for the win. The Kabuki Warriors are the new Women's Tag Team Champions. And thereafter another match that was announced earlier in the evening, and it's a 6-man tag match as the Viking Raiders team up with a mystery partner versus the OC. The Raiders' mystery partner turns out to be the monster among men Braun Strowman, and the trio proves to be too much for the OC and Styles' teammates Anderson and Gallows as they all join in triple teaming Braun Strowman, leading to a disqualification. In the end, Braun gives AJ a knockout punch. He's now only 2 steps away from becoming the new Big Show. Backstage, 24/7 champion Carmella and R-Truth are minding their own business when Tamina Snuka surprises Carmella, rolling her up to win the 48/7 European Universal title. At least that's what R-Truth keeps calling it. Next up, another late announced match as Chad Gable takes on King Corbin. Now Corbin may be the king, but Chad Gable has been making him look like a fool of late, and Corbin's woes continue tonight. Corbin looks to use the scepter to get the win, but Gable isn't there and manages to roll up King Corbin to get the win. We also might want to add that Chad Gable's new name is officially Shorty G. Yeah, the less said the better. The 24/7 hijinks continue as Carmella and R-Truth get the drop on Tamina's snooker. Carmella clobbers Tamina and R-Truth reaps the benefits, pinning her to capture yet another 24/7 championship win. Next up, SmackDown Women's Championship match as champion Bayley takes on Charlotte Flair. Bayley's buddy the Boss came up short, and so does the Hugger as the Queen locks in the figure 8 leg lock and Bayley submits. Charlotte is the new SmackDown Women's Champion, and the announcers point out that Charlotte is now a 10-time Women's Champion. Quite the achievement, but something tells us that they're going to end at 16. But now it's time for the main event, a Hell in a Cell match for the Universal Championship, as champion Seth Rollins takes on The Fiend. Nothing will stop The Fiend. Neither numerous super kicks, curb stomps, or a pedigree. A clearly frustrated Seth Rollins puts a mounted up plunder atop The Fiend, including a ladder, steel chair, and a toolbox, before getting ready to smash it with a sledgehammer. The referee pleads with Rollins not to do it, but he does, smashing the hammer into the pile and The Fiend. The referee calls for the bell, leading to a no contest. Again. After the match, emergency personnel check on what appears to be a lifeless body. They prepare to stretcher The Fiend out, but Rollins isn't sure. He looks down at The Fiend only to eat the mandible claw. The Fiend rises up, attacking Rollins with several Sister Abigails, including one on the exposed concrete. Wyatt locks in the mandible claw as ketchup oozes out of Rollins' mouth. But that was it. That's how Hell in a Cell closed out. And might we add, it ended out with audible boos. But that was a quick recap. What about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly? Let's start off with the good as number 1, Becky versus the Boss. While many fans were expecting the Boss to walk out as Raw Women's Champion, including ourselves, Becky Lynch prevailed. Nevertheless, the match was a classic example of everything good that can happen in a Hell in a Cell match. Both superstars put on the proverbial wrestling clinic, using the cage to intensify an already heated encounter. However, we can't help but ask what's next for Sasha Banks. What really was all that hype for? To lose? Number 2. Long live the King. There weren't any men's matches that delivered other than Gable vs Corbin, and while this didn't seem like a pay-per-view match, largely because it wasn't announced until the last minute, both superstars showed they have a lot to offer in the WWE. Their fans seem to be gradually jumping on both the Chad Gable and King Corbin bandwagon, with their program possibly making bona fide stars out of both of them. Number 3. Terrific Tag Team. The WWE Women's Tag Team division is packed with talented teams, but sorely lacking in proper promotion. Tonight's match between Alexa and Nikki and the Kabuki Warriors affirmed everything good about the division. Now that the Kabuki Warriors are champions, as well as heels, the WWE should start hyping this overlooked division. Hopefully they won't wait until next year to do another Women's Tag Team Championship match. Number 5. Ladies Night. Tonight was all about the WWE Women's Division, not because Hell in a Cell was promoted around them, but because the women once again showed that they are the best thing going in the WWE today. As good as the Charlotte vs Bayley match was, it suffered because it came after 2 stunning showdowns involving some other talented women. That's not a bad thing, but it makes Wrestlelamia wonder why the WWE thinks his second all-women pay-per-view is a bad idea. But that was the good. What about the bad? As number 1, last-minute matches. The WWE did so many things wrong tonight, beginning with its insane lack of promoting this pay-per-view. As we noted earlier in the week, the WWE seemed obsessed with Raw's season premiere and SmackDown's move to Fox, all but ignoring the pay-per-view. It was even rumored that several matches were rewritten too, which isn't a surprise. Tonight's show seemed like it was booked this afternoon, whether it was matches that belonged on TV, or matches that shouldn't have ended in disqualifications. And number 2, wasted opportunities. The WWE wasted a huge opportunity in having Daniel Bryan turn on Roman Reigns tonight, and while WrestleLamia thinks it will happen at some point, tonight would have been the night for it to happen. Instead, the fans saw Daniel Bryan hug Roman Reigns when he should have stabbed him in the back. Bryan still plays an excellent heel. But that was the good, the bad. What about the downright ugly? As many people, including ourselves, said about tonight's main event, the WWE painted themselves into a corner, pitting its so-called babyface Seth Rollins, whose popularity continues to fade, against The Fiend, an anti-hero whose popularity seems to be growing exponentially in a match where Rollins couldn't possibly win. The results were on display tonight when The Fiend was depicted as invulnerable to mere mortals, shrugging off repeated finishes by Seth Rollins. I think we counted 10 curb stomps, not to mention about 50 super kicks. The ending where Seth Rollins seemingly crossed the line and chose to kill his opponent destroyed the fans' suspension of disbelief, destroyed Rollins' finishers, and all but ruined the uniqueness of a Hell in a Cell. No one wants to see a no contest ending or a disqualification in a Hell in a Cell match, and yet the fans got it, leading to huge boos and AEW chants. It's safe to say Rollins is done as a babyface, and it's questionable how the WWE will salvage The Fiend, as apparently he's capable of withstanding anything short of a tactical nuke. But there you have it guys, the results for 2019's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, as well as the good, the bad and the downright ugly. What did you guys think of the ending? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.